and welcome back to my channel. This is Choma Stitches and my name is Choma. Today we're going to be sewing a kimono gown with a net sleeve, and these are the fabrics I need to work with. This is the tulle, the net I'm working with for the sleeve, and this is the Ankara I'm going to be using for the kimono jacket. And of course I have my rulers for tracing, I have my pins, I have my chalk, I have two scissors here. One is for the fabric and this is for the pattern paper, and this is the pattern paper I'm going to be using to draft the sleeve. So that is why I have my pattern paper scissors. Okay, so guys, let's get straight into this. I'm just going to arrange the fabric. Okay, and of course this is my tape rule as well. I didn't mention this. So the full length of the kimono jacket I'm making is going to be 14 inches. So I'm going to place my 14 inches. I'm going to be placing 41 inches because I'm going to be using a lining fabric to lining the under parts. Okay, so I'm going to be making this main fabric 1 inch longer than the lining fabric. So from here to here is 5 inches. I'm just going to transfer these markings. So for the shoulder measurement, I am going to be marking 8 inches for the shoulder measurement. All right, and I'm going to mark out 1 inch shoulder slanting, and from here I'm going to trace the armhole. Now because it's a kimono, it's going to be free, so your armhole will also have to be free. You cannot have a very fitted armhole and make the dress very free. It's not going to be proportional. Okay, so if you want your armhole to be exact, your exact measurement, which means you're making the bust area your exact measurement, but I'm going to be leaving a bit of an ease on the bust area, so I'm going to be giving that same ease to the armhole. So for the armhole, bust 39 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 is going to give us 8 inches, and for the ease I am going to be coming down by half of an inch or 0.3, so I'm marking 8.3 inches. Okay, so I'm bringing the 8 inches, the shoulder measurement here as well, and I'm going to connect it with a straight line. So here I'm going to be marking out the bust measurement, 39 inches divided by 4, which is 9.75 inches. So I mark 9.75 inches here. So from here I'm going to be dividing my pattern into 2 to get the armhole, so I can curve the armhole. So I'm coming in by half of an inch. I'm going to use my ruler to connect it to the shoulder slanting, and then I'll use my curved ruler to curve the armhole. So from the shoulder to the hip line, I'm going to be measuring 26 inches. I am working with a hip 46 inches. 46 inches divided by 4 is 11.5 inches. Now you will not decide how free you want your dress to be. Okay, so if you want your kimono to be very free or to be exact hip measurement, all of this is what you consider before you cut out your pattern. So what I have left here is 1.5 inch. I'm going to be leaving the 1.5 inch as the sewing allowance, but I will be sewing with 1/2 inch. So half of an inch will be the ease around the hip area. Okay, and then for the bust area as well, I'm going to be giving it a 1.5 inch sewing allowance as well. So 1/2 inch is going to be the ease for the bust area, while I will be sewing with 1 inch. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect this. Now the beauty of kimono dress is that even though you're not going to be taking out that, and you might not make your waist fitted, if you also want it to be fitted around your waist, you can just add a belt. Okay, so that is why I am just marking this straight, because if you want to style it, you can use a belt to style it. And then for the neckline, I'm going to be cutting the neckline for the front and the back together. Okay, now but for the front piece, because the front is going to be needing a bit of sewing allowance to conceal the neatness, I'm going to be using this as the back pattern. So for the neckline, I'm going to be working with a neckline of 3.5 inches. For the back piece, I will only come down by half of an inch. Then when we are transferring to the front pattern, we can now mark out the front neckline. So I'm connecting this slanting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the sewing allowance. Since I've added the sewing allowance on the side, I'm going to add sewing allowance for the armhole as well and for the shoulder. So for the shoulder, I'm adding half of an inch here for the shoulder sewing allowance, and I'm going to extend it with 0.3 inches as well for the neckline. and then I'm adding 0.3 inches as well around the armhole. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern. For the front, the one under is going to be the front piece, and for this front piece I'm adding half of an inch, or it's not even up to half of an inch, like 0.4 inches for the front that we're going to be using to sew the front, to conceal the front opening. So this 0.4 inches I'm leaving here is going to be what we're going to use to conceal the front opening and of course the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this pattern now. I'm going to measure the neckline for the front. So for the front neckline, I'm going to be using 4.5 inches. So I'm placing my tape half of an inch above the neckline I've cut for the back. This is because we cut out half of an inch for the back neckline. Okay, note that. And then I'm going to mark out my 4.5 inches here. Okay. So now, then I'll use my curved ruler to curve this neckline. So I'm going to cut out the front neckline, and then I'm going to be cutting this front part open. So all of these markings, you do it on the wrong side of the fabric, don't forget that. I'm going to be cutting out the lining piece now with this as the pattern, and I'm going to make the lining piece to be 1 inch shorter than this main fabric. And then for the sleeve, to draft the sleeve we are going to be using. Now if you've seen my tutorial on how to draft a bell sleeve, I'm going to be leaving the link in the description box. That's this for this outfit you are seeing on this video right now. You already know how to draft a sleeve and slash and spread it to get the fullness of the sleeve you want. That's what we're going to be doing here, but in this case we'll make this one extra because we want it to be really full. So I have 23 inches here for the full length, and I'm going to be using this 23 inches, and I just have to add a little bit extra at the down part. So for you to get the curve for your armhole for the sleeve, you divide your bust measurement by 12, and 39 inches divided by 12 is giving me 3.25. So I'm going to mark 3.25. And then for you to get the box for your sleeve, you divide your bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5, and for this I have 8 inches. 39 divided by 6 plus 1.5. So right here we're going to follow the same pattern you do when you are drafting a basic sleeve. Okay, then I'm going to be slanting here from this place to this point, and then I will find the midpoint of this slant. So I just fold my tape in half and I get the midpoint and mark it. I'm going to go up by half of an inch, and I'm going to, you can use half of an inch or 0.4 inches, okay, or 0.3 inches. I like to use like 0.3 inches, not a complete half of an inch, okay. And then I will curve it to the end of the pattern like so, and then you can connect it. You can use your free hand to do this, or you can use your ruler to do it, okay. Anyone will work. Now when you want to differentiate the difference between the front pattern of a sleeve and the back, this is where you do that. Now this one we've done at the up part is the back part of the sleeve, okay, the back. Now for the under part, you come down by 0.3 or 0.4 as well from the under at this midpoint, and then you connect it to the end again with your ruler like so. Just rule it and connect it. You see a visible difference between the front part of the sleeve and the back. And then you come here and you reverse your ruler and connect it as well to this point. Now at this point, this lower part of the sleeve is the part that's supposed to be in front, but for this sleeve we are cutting, I'm going to be using the back piece for both the front and the back. So I'm not going to be cutting it out twice. I'm only cut out just one part, okay. And then because we're going to be using slash and spread, I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance directly on this as well, so that I won't have to add sewing allowance, okay. So I'm extending this by 1 inch, because 1 inch is also the sewing allowance we added to the bodice. Now from here, if it was a fitted sleeve, you look for your bicep, your elbow measurement and your wrist measurement. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this out before I slash and spread. Now this is not an exact sleeve measurement for the person, okay. As you can see, I just went a straight line You can try to mark out the full measurements and take them out apart one after the other, but I've already done this. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be achieving it. So I'm going to cut out this pattern. So this is why I have my pattern scissors. Don't use the same scissors you use for your pattern for fabric. It's going to kill your fabric scissors. Now at this point, I'm going to be doing my slash and spread. I'm going to be doing slash and spread, so I'm just going to go ahead and rule 2 or 3 lines in the middle where I'm going to be slashing this pattern. I'm going to cut this open and I will stop very close to the end. You're not going to cut it through. This is for your slash and spread method. So we're going to be cutting out our net. This is what we're going to use as the sleeve. I've folded this into 4, which means I am going to be cutting both sleeves together at the same time. And I folded the tulle fabric in half first before I folded it into 4 the other direction. This is because the length, half of the tulle is enough for the length I need. Okay, the tulle is about by 60, so half of it should be giving us like 30 inches. So it's enough. So I'm going to be placing this here like so. Then I'm going to slash and spread. So you can now exhaust what you have. You can exhaust everything you have as the sleeve. Now we're going to be adding a bit of Ankara at the edge of the sleeve, which means that is going to also affect the length of the sleeve as well. Now the distance between this and this, you can make it equal, or you can just play around and just make something. And then I'm going to be using my curved ruler to connect this. I've added sewing allowance at the top of the sleeve here, but I didn't add on this side. So you can just use this to extend your sleeve, the wideness of the sleeve. And then I'm going to be adding, like I said, I'm adding sewing allowance at the down here, joining allowance. So you can make it 1 inch or however, because this also affects the length. So wherever you add it to it, know that it will affect the length, it will increase the length. So now we can go ahead and cut out this. Now at this point you can add, see I had to come down a bit from here so that I can add joining allowance. Okay, so this is it. So I cut the 2 sleeves together. This is one of the sleeve. So I had to measure here, open it up and measure here like this, and I got about 45.5 inches. So I've cut out this long rope 4 inches by 46 inches. I cut 2 of it for each sleeve. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take one of it from the hem of the sleeve like so. I'm going to go ahead and sew it. I'm going to go ahead and sew it from the hem like so in reverse, place it on top of it like that and sew it. Then when I get to the end, I'm going to turn it this way to top stitch it. Okay, and then I've cut out the lining piece as well for here for the main bodice, and as you can see, the main bodice, the main fabric is 1 inch longer. I'm going to go ahead and sew the neckline with the lining piece. Okay, I'm going to sew the neckline, top stitch it, and I'm also going to go ahead and sew here. I'm going to sew here, and I'll also bring it down here and sew the hem, so that when you turn it inside out, you will have a neatly finished edge all the way from the neckline all the way here. Okay, this is for the front piece. I'll do it for this front piece, and I'll repeat the same thing for the back piece as well. Here I've gone ahead to sew the neckline and top stitch it, and as you can see, I added a strong stay on the front part of the kimono, like so on the front side around the neckline. This is to keep this place strong so that it doesn't fold in when you wear it. And look at the hem, the way we sewed here. So you sew the hem first before you sew the middle side. Okay, look at this one. For the back piece, I sew the neckline first before I sew the hem. That way it will pull it, because there's a difference in the allowance for the front and the back, and that's going to give this place a neat finishing. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn it inside out like so. So I'm going to iron this out, and I'm going to turn this one inside out as well and iron it like so. So just trim it out a bit, trim out here a bit so that this place will lap when you turn it inside out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and iron these parts as well. Next, I'm going to be cutting out the pocket I'm going to be putting on this kimono. Okay, the kimono is going to have a pocket. So what I like to do is just use my hand to sketch. Okay, you just place your hand and just mark out where it will fit in better for you. Okay, this is just a guide. I like to use my hand as a guide and just move it. And so this is what I have. So when you slide in your hand, it can go this way. This is the point, and make sure this place is wide enough for the hand to fit through. Also consider the sewing allowance on both sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. Now to the 4-piece, and here is the sleeve. I have sewn the sleeve once. So this is how I attach the Ankara at the hem of the sleeve. Okay, so now that we've attached it this way, I'm going to now go ahead and turn it this way and then fold it in. This is the center of the net, the tool. I mark the center of the net and also mark the center of the Ankara on this other side to help guide me. So I'm going to fold this in by 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to fold it to meet this here. And I'm going to do the same thing all the way. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch this from here all the way to the end, and I'll top stitch it to this other direction, just like I've done here. This is the other piece, this is the wrong side, and this is it, like so. I've top stitched it. I've top stitched this. So I'm going to go ahead and iron this out. I'm going to iron it out and you'll see how clean it looks. And I'm going to be trimming out the excess of the Ankara on this other side. I've gone ahead to iron this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is for the front piece and for the shoulder slanting, I use the same 1 inch for the both of them. Now I'm going to take out 1/2 an inch shoulder slanting to make the front shoulder slanting 1.5 inch. So I'm just going to cut it out from here, take out 1.5 an inch and just slant it here. Okay, now we're good. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the pocket. I'm going to be attaching the pocket. Now you're going to take a measurement of your waistline where you are most comfortable for your pocket to be. For this, I'm going to be using 19 inches. So this is about 19 inches over here. So from here, I'm going to come here and measure it from the armhole. Okay, I have 9 inches from the armhole. So this is what I'm going to do. So from here, I'm going to measure the 9 inches and I'm going to mark it. Okay. On this other side as well, I am going to measure 9 inches and mark it. So now I'm going to pick one of the pockets. So now I'm going to pick one of the pockets and place it like so. Right side facing the right side of the kimono, and I'm going to pin it. And I'm going to go ahead and sew with a straight line. I'm just going to hold it down with a straight line and I'll open it up and iron it. And take this other one and reverse it this way, right side facing right side, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the pockets for both sides. Here I have attached the pockets on both sides and I have ironed it. You can see here. And so now I'm going to be joining the shoulders, and I'm going to go ahead and join the shoulders. So here I have joined the shoulders, as you can see, and so it's looking nice. Next we are going to be attaching the sleeve. So I'm opening it up like this, and this is the sleeve, neatly ironed. And so I'm going to fold in the sleeve like so, hold in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it here. And so just like that, I am going to sew from one end all the way to the other end. So now we're going to go ahead and sew the sides all the way and give it a neat weaving inside so that this dress will be ready. And you can also make a rope, a straight rope, and use it to belt it, or you can use a belt to style it. If at this point, guys, you're yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also like this video. You can also share this video so that this channel can grow. I would appreciate that very much. I want to say a very big thank you to all the new subscribers that have joined the family lately. I hope you guys decide to stay. And for the old subscribers, thank you so much. You guys are my rock. I appreciate your subscriptions and your likes and comments. I see all of them. Thank you so much. And if you are seeing this channel for the first time, I hope you decide to subscribe and stick around with us. See you guys in my next tutorial. Bye bye.